Well, hello everyone. This is Robin Carter with Robin's Creations. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator out of Flower Mound, Texas. And today, which is November 24th, I am here to share my second set of alternatives using the November 2025 Paper Pumpkin Kit called Wrapped in Cheer. So before we begin, let me thank all of you who are subscribed to my YouTube channel, and thank you to my new subscribers. I did reach 5,300 subscribers, so thank you so much. And now we are on our way to 5,400. So if you are new to my channel, I want to give you a little welcome. Thank you for finding my video, and I hope you find tips and tricks along the way that I share. I do keep my videos real, so if I make a mistake, I try to correct those on video so you know what to do if you make those same mistakes. Also, as you're watching this video, the best way you can help me know you enjoy these is give me a thumbs up. Always share it with your other paper crafting friends, and then always subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I'm going to switch to hands down, and I'm going to share, actually, before I switch to hands down, let me remind you that tomorrow, November 25th, Stampin' Up! Is offering a Black Friday sale. So first time ever. I do know there's going to be some discounted blends, adhesive, the trimmer, and even the blades and cardstock. So it'd be a great time to replenish your supplies and have a little head start into the new year with a bunch of new goodies. So I don't know everything that's on there, so I will be traveling tomorrow, so I will be I guess shopping from my mobile phone sometime, unless I can get on there before we leave. So anyway, I hope you find some goodies that might be on your list that are discounted. So let's switch to hands down now so I can share the next paper pumpkin kit. I know last time I thought I had switched and I did not switch right away, but I did catch that on my side computer here. So going on now is the subscription period for the December paper pumpkin kit. But if you've watched my previous channels, you know that starting December 1st, Stampin' Up! Is having what they're calling their Cyber Monday sale, and it's going to be on prepaid paper pumpkin subscriptions. So whether you choose 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, the cost is discounted the same. It's a great deal. So just remember that if you do subscribe, you will have to start with this one, which it looks to be a beautiful kit. So, but if you already have a prepaid you're working on, like I do, then you want to get in on the savings, my guess is you just need to suspend your current one, because your new one will automatically have this, unless you want 2 kits or more, which wouldn't probably be bad with this kit. Okay, also don't miss the add-on dies. So these add-on dies are great. Item number 167855. Now they are available while supplies last, and you must be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber to purchase these. So I always like to remind you of that. Okay, so I have tore through my craft room trying to come up with an alternative for you guys. And so the first one's going to be pretty easy. I'm going to use the components for the wreath. If you missed my first alternative, I did use the components for this box and then decorated the box on my own. So let me get out my goodies for it and we can get started. Always check my monitor over here to make sure I have sound and everything's going well. So I'm going to make a card out of those components, and so I'm going to bring in a thick white card base, which if you've followed me, you know that's what I love to use. And then I brought in a layer, since we're working on wreaths, that I have embossed with this traditional wreath 3D embossing folder. Now, as you can see here, it is much larger than a traditional card size, our A2 size, but I really like the way it kind of has the appearance of a wreath on the outside. So we're going to use that. And then, like I said, this one's going to come together pretty quickly because I'm going to use the components for the box. So that one, for this one, is the red striped tag, the green. Now notice these are double-sided. I'm going to stick with the green. I do have a bow, and then I have both wreaths that they've used, and there's just an extra bow that I keep in here. Now, I think last time I looked, these were on the clearance rack, which is the add-on dies from last year. Let's see where I put them. I've got all kinds of goodies on my desk for you guys. So you may already have these. These were the Mary and More dies, and I did use this in my last alternative, and I thought I would just keep using it because I love using the things over and over that we've been able to purchase with Paper Pumpkin. So let me see. I think I did a cherry cobbler one for this. Now, I already cut it out and I did not use an adhesive sheet. I would recommend if you're going to do yours that you do an adhesive sheet. Okay, and then for my Christmas, you could use the one in this kit if that is all you have. But I reached through my goodies, and I think I used this on the last one as well. So this is from the Ho 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 kit back in October of 2022. And I hope to make a box with this for, you know, the younger generation or those of you that like the little Santa here. But anyway, I stamped this in cherry cobbler because I really liked how dark that was. And then I've cut that out here. So let's get started with this card. So there's going to be no ribbon directly across this. So I'm going to go ahead and get my multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm using it right out of the bottle because you don't want such a fine line that it all gets stuck down in the grooves of your embossing folder. So you're going to want to do that. Now, before I put this down, notice that I have left more wreath on this side. And that's because all my tags and stuff are going to cover up most of the left-hand side. And I just wanted more of that embossed layer to show. I mean, that's kind of gorgeous on its own. But anyway, I wanted to use these supplies. So we have this. And I do want to put these up on dimensional. So let me move my stash of ink pads I have there and grab my... here's a sheet that I've started on. My dimensionals. Cannot believe that left me there for a minute. So I do cut the large ones in half. Now this one we received mini ones and there's no need to cut those in half. I'm just reaching for the ones that I started first. I do keep all the extras in a little pail. Actually, I use a previous... Remember how many of you were here when we had our old wood-mounted stamps? So that's what I store a bunch of extra goodies like that. I also have one that holds glue dots, etc. So because I did convert all of those to clear/cling mount. So I have a good little supply of boxes. I don't know if you can see over on my side over there. I do have my blends stored in those as well, kind of by color family. All right, and so let's just set this down. Let's kind of eyeball it on the left-hand side. And then when we put this one down, we just want dimensionals to be on the outside there. So I'm going to put, let me make sure I'm doing the right side. One here. Okay, and then I kind of eye where by the wreath I could put some more, and let's just put one there and then one there. I really like turning these into cards. They made beautiful cards just with the Paper Pumpkin goodies. Okay, now when I looked at how they did it, let me see. I didn't really like how the bow was way up there and the wreaths were there. I know when I see wreaths, I often see the bow attached to those, but we do have that hole we need to cover. So I'm just going to bring my wreaths up, and I am going to stick with their traditional color, which is the beige side up. So if you didn't notice, these were two-sided, and then the lighter green up to kind of give some contrast to that right there. So I think the easiest way here is going to be get a glue dot and attach it to the back of this bow. Now I haven't made one of these ahead of time. I figured I could do a good job without having one done ahead of time. So let's see how this actually works out. Okay, I just put a glue dot there. I didn't do a good job. I kind of folded it. Let's get another one. I folded that one in half. Got a little, this is a little embellishment container that some embellishments come in. And I thought for my desk it would hold these little bitty glue dot pieces that I have and some remaining dimensionals and such. Okay, let's just set this here. Let's put our wreaths together like that. I kind of like that. So now we're going to do, I'm going to stick with a glue dot just so it doesn't ooze out everywhere. I've got one left on this little sheet. And let's pick this up and put it on that part. And let's go ahead and see how that's, oh, I lost a wreath already. Well, I'll have to use another one. So let's attach him back. Okay, now they're attached. And then let's use some more glue dots to help put it on our tag. I do love these little glue dots we get. A lot of people have a love-hate relationship with them. I happen to have natural nails that I can pretty much get them by myself, but no, you do have the take your pick tool if you have trouble. So I'm going to put that right up there like that. Okay, and then we're going to say our Merry Christmas. Now, like I said, I probably should have used adhesive sheet on this, but I did not. So I'm going to get my fine tip glue bottle, and I'm just going to put it on some bigger pieces here. Let's get the glue down. Thought I had it upside down. Kind of on these bigger pieces, and be real stingy with it, just to hold enough down. Now with the liquid glue, you're going to want to make sure you kind of set it down there and be happy with it. Now obviously that's oozing. Now I can go back with my glue eraser when that's good and dry and kind of get any shiny stuff off. And then of course I want this cherry cobbler Christmas here as well. So that I think I can just do a little fine glue. Now adhesive sheet would have been better because it is that straight? Yes, it wouldn't have smeared like it did. And then of course we need to decorate everything with some of those little cute little red gems, and I'm looking for mine. They should be in one of my containers. Maybe I put it back in the big. Now these are what I call my favorite things while I'm kind of looking through things, and these are great to store your paper pumpkin kits in. It generally keeps everything nice and tidy, and also much thinner for your supplies. Now these 5x7 ones that I use in storing my card components, they're great, and also they work great for getting the smaller pieces contained. I have, like you can see here, this is what I kind of started putting my card components in. And okay, I found my little Ziploc bag with them. I really like these little red embellishments we got in this kit. We don't always get embellishments, and that just adds a whole lot to the card right there. So let me hold this up closer. What do you guys think about turning this one into this card? And let me know how you like the emboss. It really doesn't do itself justice on the camera here, but this emboss layer really makes it stand out nice and neat. Now, just for general purposes, you may want to go ahead and add a glue dot or some adhesive to this bow just so it is more sturdy, but I'm going to leave that like it is for now. And let me stick it back in this with the other ones. And now I'm going to kind of go off script here, and I'm going to use the stamps. Now I like to also show those of you that like my cut files things you can do, but you could also just stamp this plain if you wanted to. So let me get out the supplies for my next one, And I hope you like this one as well. So again, we need a thick white card base. I'm going to stick with that wreath 3D embossing folder. And again, I did, this one could be more in the center, but it's far on the one side. I don't think it's going to matter. Now, I'm going to have you guys help me out here and give me some comments of what you like. So I dug through my stash and I found this paper that I had. I loved this paper, and I bought a couple of them when they were on the clearance rack. So it's called Tidings of Christmas, and it has these pretty little cherry cobbler pieces. I think these would have been nice too, this with the green piece. There's so many in here that would be nice. Now, of course, the coordinating color of green is the evening evergreen and the, did I say that right? Evening evergreen and soft succulent, which is retired. But if you stick to the cherry cobbler, that's also the coordinating color, then everything there is current. So again, this piece is optional. I wouldn't say it's necessarily essential, but you can look through your stash and see if you have some pretty designer series paper. I did cut this to 4 1/8 by 2 inches, and I actually I miscut it the first time because I wanted, you know, this direction, so I cut it at 4, but it left me this 2-inch strip, so I was like, okay, that's what I'm going with, where the pattern is going the correct direction. Now, if you ever have any hangover like I have here, I just take my scissors and go along the edge to get that off. So it must have been just a hair off when I did that. Now I'm going to add some ribbon. I'm going to add, excuse me, white. I'm trying to think, is there a current cherry cobbler? I don't know, but I really liked this here. And you'll see more when I get to the other pieces that I'm going to add on here. I'm amazed these scissors still are as sharp as they are. I've had them ever since I started crafting. I do have a set designated for ribbon, but often that just does the job. Okay, let me get 2 pieces of tear and tape here to help hold down the ribbon. So I'm going to just hang it off to the side a little bit here. Should have got a bigger piece. And then you can use your grid paper or a ruler to kind of get it straight. My little puppy sheet here, the grids are not as dark. I generally work on my glass mat. I love my glass mat. Stuff, glue doesn't stick to it. If ink gets there, I can just wipe it away really quick. And just for good measure, I'm going to give that another piece because I'm afraid it's not sticking all the way across. So let's put a bigger piece on both of these. We'll go ahead and tear this one up because this is going to hang over a little bit. Okay, now that ribbon should be nice and tied down. So let's tear off the backings. Yeah, this fingernail broke. He's kind of stubby. And then let's add some, what is this? The multi-purpose liquid glue to put it on our card base. Now, I didn't mention, did I mention this at first? Always feel on your handmade card bases, whether you like, you can kind of lift this side, where if I said, okay, this is the front, this one's actually pretty even, like that hardly ever happens when I make my own, but I'm going to stick with this side. It generally picks up the easiest. So I'm going to say this is my front. Now I may have to add it. So I make a whole lot of white card bases, and the little blades, they give out quickly. So I went and got a guillotine cutter, and I can cut 2 sheets at a time, even of the thick. And I may have to add that to my favorite things. I think that would be okay. Stampin' Up! Doesn't have a guillotine anymore. They had one years ago. I kind of wish they would have brought that back, but that's been gone a long, long time. Okay, so here I'm going to ask you guys' opinion. So I think I'm going to stick with the red. I have two different sizes here. I'm going to see which one works. And I did go with cherry cobbler. Now, those of you that like my cut files, I have a whole slew. I was able to get the leaves and everything kind of cut. I have a little envelope of those, as well as this wreath. Now this wreath, probably there's two sizes in there, one that's thinner and one that's thicker. I do recommend the thicker one because I've had a dickens of a time getting a perfect one like that. Most of those tore when I was trying to get them off my mat. But everything else seemed to work well. I do have a thicker one of these leaves because, again, they're just so thin that they tear. So I think I'm going to add some greenery back here, and I don't know which one I want to add. I have that one. I kind of like this one. This one's kind of whimsy-ish. Okay. So I'm going to add some greenery back there. And then I have stamped the wreath and I've cut it out inside and out. Now this is where you could just go with a white piece here and stamp it if you wanted to. Now I stamped some in Mossy Meadow and I have some in Old Olive. For this, I don't think it matters. I did consider using Mossy Meadow, but then if I did that, I for sure wanted to use this one, okay, the lighter color, just for some contrast. So I'm going to stick with the darker one. Let's see how the smaller arch. By the way, those are from the Everyday Arches. They're some of my favorite dies that I have. I really like making a scene with those. I actually think that smaller arch goes better with this smaller wreath. And then, where'd my little envelope go? I cut out the Mary in the white cardstock to kind of go with that backing. And then I stamped another one of those cherry cobblers. And I think that stands out well enough. You could leave a white border if you wanted to, but I kind of like how it does that. So let's adhere this little piece of greenery down. Now, since only a little bit stands out, you may want to, I don't know, cut it apart and use some of it to go higher. Where did my little scissors go? Let's try that. Let's cut some here and here, and let's see if I can get more to go up top. Okay, let's add a glue dot. Need a smaller glue dot, which I have, like I said, I keep this little bucket because it has little pieces that I have left. Let's put a glue dot there and a glue dot there. Now, if you don't have a cut machine and don't want to make your own, this is an optional step, obviously. There we go. I'm going to stick that up there. And then, well, he's kind of ugly, what's remaining. So I don't know that that really worked. That wasn't worth really cutting him apart. Let's see if I cut off that. Like I said, I kind of play on my own. I don't like that. We're just going to get rid of that. Okay, and then we're going to put the adhesive up here. But he needs more. I just think it needs more greenery. So I'm going to try to cut these little things off and have a leaf on its own up there. Also, any pine dies you might have would work great. It would have been nice to have some pine add-on dies if you're listening. Stampin' Up, that would be nice. The fern actually would look nice. I did forget about the fern. We do have a fern. Okay, let's see if I like that better. I think that's better. That adds a little more greenery to the top up there. How am I doing on time? I'm doing pretty good. Didn't get that on straight. But the good thing about these is you can fold them back over. Now I'm having difficulty. fold it back over so it's inside the leaf. Okay, let's put that kind of there. All right, where did my, here it is. Okay, so I thought I would do 2 of these. Now, these 2 are the same size, and some I have that have a little more white border to them. Is this one? It's about the same. Let me get my little bucket and we will stamp some of those. So you can see how I do that. Now how I do this, I have a whole slew of white ones here, is with my Stamparatus. Now they no longer sell the Stamparatus. Sadly, the Misty, I think, was going to send them to court thinking they copied, but the Misty would work as well. Now as you can see, I have a thicker wreath here. It's not quite as fine, and I'm going to put that in my negative here, get it going the right direction. I have a whole video that I showed how to line these up using my cut files, or I do the same thing with dies. I tend to have a better stamping experience. Okay, so my whole thing is off. I think you get the idea that I'm just going to ink this up over here, but I do want my Stamparatus to be flat. I'll try to hold it up. And I'm using Mossy Meadow for that. I do love the spots for the Stamparatus. So let's hope I get it in one inking, that I didn't miss anything. I do still have my pumpkins on this side because I'm not quite finished making all my alternatives. The fall season tends to get busy. For me, I go with my husband to football games. We do support the Razorbacks, even though it's been a rough season. We've lost, I think, every game except the gimme games. So getting a new coach, hopefully we can do better, but you know, we're not fair weather fans, so we're going to support them to the end. And hopefully one day they will be good. So that's just all I'm going to say about that. All right, so let's get some dimensionals on here as well. I've lost my little stash and all my gabbing. Here it is. Okay. So now when you have ribbon, you want to make sure your dimensional doesn't necessarily land on the ribbon. So when I'm going to put one in the middle, I tend to put it right there on top, and then I'm pretty safe to do these on the sides here. And let's just do one at the very top. Oh, by the way, I didn't say, in case you're new, I do have an Etsy shop where I have cut files for sentiments from all kinds of things. And if there's ever one that's not on there, because I have to pay to list them, and their little fees get hefty. So once they're kind of older kits, I don't keep renewing them, but I do probably have them and can put them out if you message me on Etsy and there's one you want. So I'm going to stack a couple of these just to make it a little more full. Again, if you don't have a cut machine, not interested in doing this part, I would just make this layer white and stamp your little wreath on it. Okay, I'm trying to decide, does it need more? Let's do one more, just to make it look real full. And that one came apart. And I try to go off again where the solid part was. Now that looks a lot more full. I don't know if that shows well to you guys. So let's put him down now on, I did cut this one in cherry cobbler, and let me tell you which size I used. Okay guys, I don't know what happened, but I lost video there. So I've recreated this, and I'm hoping to catch up where I left off. So I was getting ready to show you which size of the everyday arches I've used for this. And it is the 5th largest one right here. And I think that one works well for the size of our stamp wreath. So that's what I used here. Okay, so now all we need to do is put our Mary on there. Now I did do a Mary in white. I thought that's stood out well. I'm trying to figure out what's on my oh, that's a little piece of adhesive sheet. By the way, I missed my adhesive sheet, so I am going to have to be very what's my word here, stingy with the glue again to see if I can get it not to run. So again, you want to just where you want to get it lined up if you're using liquid glue, and press it down without having to move it too much. Now hopefully that gets enough. Now I have my same Christmas here that I used in the last kit, or the last alternative, and it is from the Ho 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 October 2022. So I just stamped a couple. One of them's kind of fuzzy. I'm gonna have to pick the best one here. I think it's this one, and I just need my scissors, and we will cut this out again. I'll freehand this because surely I can follow a straight line that's stamped. And whoops, I want to get all the white, so I'd rather go inside the red than leave a little white. Although since this is cherry cobbler on cherry cobbler, it wouldn't hurt if you had a little border. And so let's get our liquid glue again. Now for my next set of alternatives, if I have time before Thanksgiving, I'm going to work a little more with the stamps, maybe even bring in some past paper pumpkin stamp sets, etc. I even have an idea for a box. I've traced the box and have made white boxes, and I think I thought about using the Ho 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 on that. Now here's the one I finished. I did add a little bling there. You tell me, does it, to me bling is always better, but do you think the bling takes away or adds to? Maybe even some pearls to add white instead of the gold. I don't know. We could add some berries there. We could add a small bow up top. I think the one in the kit's a little too large. Let me get one and let's look. I like to get you guys' opinion. Yeah, they're just too large for that poor little wreath. So maybe even a little twine of bow, although I don't know about twine. Maybe a skinny white ribbon that I have here, an old Stampin' Up! Ribbon, just to add a little bow. So that would be some other things you could add. So thanks for joining me, everyone. Let me switch to myself. So thanks for joining me. I hope you liked these alternatives. Sorry for all the mess ups during the video. It just happens sometimes. Don't forget, tomorrow starts the Black Friday day, which is November 25th. So I hope there's some goodies on there that you have on your list that you can get at some great savings. And give this video a thumbs up, share it with your other paper crafting friends, and of course, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. I really am thankful for each and every one of you. We have so much here to be thankful for this week as well, being Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So we truly are a blessed nation, even though we have our own troubles like most of countries do, but we really are blessed. So I'm thankful for that. So till my next video, I hope you have a blessed day. And if I don't see you before Thanksgiving, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving with friends and or family. So until my next video, everyone, have a great day. Bye-bye.